Dear Cosmo babies, this week we are going to be talking about how to get your education on for $20 or less. I'm your host, Annie MacArthur, and I have my co-host here, Russell Mays, and with our ultra special guest co-host, Aaron Gray.
I'm here. This is my favorite subject, by the way.
I love talking about education.
How to creep on some education for cheap or free.
Yeah. It is possible. It's possible to get educated for free, and I think people just don't realize it.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, so let's just jump into it. Let's talk about some of the education that is out there for around that $20 budget. Russell, what's your favorite?
Myhairdresser.com. I think that is like one of the biggest online video, communities. And I think that is $15 a month. And you can do that for a month. And there's a lot of stuff on there, going from like fundamental beginner, I don't know how to comb hair, all the way to, oh, here's the latest, from some iconic hairdresser over in Europe that you've only heard of, and there is a video of him or her doing something. It's really brilliant because it appeals to such a broad audience, and they have a immensely deep library.
Okay, so I just looked it up, myhairdressers.com with an S at the end. Yep. It looks like it's $19.99 for a monthly plan, but they have free options, y'all.
Oh.
Free educational options. Aaron, what's your favorite?
I have a couple. So something paid that's like in that $20 range. I'm always going to go sassoononline.com, because I think that if you have the opportunity to learn like that precision cutting at home before you decide to invest in $1,000 class, and fly down to Santa Monica or Boston, I think that it gives you a level of comfort. I also think that those are like classics. The people who are building that education are brilliant. And I just think that traditional precision cutting is just something great for everybody to have. Even if all you want to do is balayage, like know how to do a bob, right? Yep. Know how to do it really well, even if it takes you 4 hours. It's great education. It's great education. And to have Sassoon available to you for $20 or less is incredible.
Yeah, and currently Sassoon Online is at $19 a month, but as a member, it looks like you can get a 10% discount off of select courses. The thing that I love about Sassoon Online is that it's more than just step-by-step education. I think that part's so cool. You can actually watch collections, and it gives you such an immersive.
And I mean, the other thing, is that they do. Sometimes they're in the UK, and so it's like a 4 a.m. type situation. I've absolutely gotten up at 4 a.m. to watch them launch collections, but they do things with all of their artists. So we're really used to seeing the North American artists here, but you start to get to know like the Sassoonies in Europe, and I love that. And then you casually DM them and become best friends. So. That's
one of my absolute all-time favorite hairdressers works out of London, out of the Academy, Sylvia, and she is brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah. I feel like they're way more accessible in Europe.
Yeah.
On social, than maybe not that our North American artists are not wildly accessible here, but I think that they will absolutely answer your DM. They'll absolutely answer it and have a conversation with you. So
I think that's probably a really good option as well. Miss Aaron, where are you spending your $20?
Annie.
Oh, do you mean me?
What did I say?
You said Aaron.
Who are you?
Oh my God. Oh my God. God.
We look a lot alike.
I know.
I was like,
I've been drinking.
So for me, I it's a little more than $20 at first.
Okay.
But There's a big but after it.
You're such a rule breaker already breaking the rules.
I'm sorry. You know what though? This is some like legit education though.
All right.
So I know Aaron loves this too. We love nickeducation.com with Nick Berardi. It's a little pricey to buy into it. So it's $100 up front for the first month and you get unlimited access to everything. And this is some like quality education, people, like super high quality education. It's $100 up front, but after that, it's only $10. And so it's only $10 a month, but there is a bit of a buy-in to it, but it's like this quality education, like you are going to use it again and again and again.
Also, it was built, the thing that I love about Nick Berardi's program is that he built it as a STAR program, which was specifically for hair schools. So there is this entire cosmetology school education that is really like at the level that you're currently living at and takes you from the basics, like all the way to advanced. And it's laid out like that. Like here are your basic cuts. And they go through it and you can do color theory. You're doing color theory with Carrera, you're learning the bob with Stephen Moody. Like the people that he has come in, Nick also cuts and was with Sassoon for a million years. But the people that he has come in from lots of different companies really kind of take you from the basics to very advanced. And so I think for me, there are a couple of really, really solid bridge programs. And I think that Nick Berardi's is absolutely the most affordable by far.
And let's say that you took all of these for a year, right? Let's say you signed up for all three. At the end of a year, that Nick Berardi, the nickeducation.com, is still under $20 a month. Still under $20 a month. So it's still in that range. It's still affordable. The buy-in is just a little expensive up front.
I think all three of those are really excellent places to start for someone that's new in the industry within 5 years, because there are some real questionable ones out there where I've seen some stuff and I'm like, I got PTSD from watching it. I'm just like, oh Lord help me. No. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. So those are three quality, great starts if I'm going to start paying. I think.
And you want to have a login, right? Like you want to have a login. You want to do it on your own time. You don't want to have a certain time that you've got to be on. You want to be able to pause it, do the step-by-step with it, because there are things that you can do that you don't need those things, right?
I think that a certain amount of it will start to get repetitive from the same person, unless they have a lot of variety, which some people can pull variety from other stylists to come in. And I think all three of those have a lot of variety. But if it's just one person, sometimes it's going to get a little monotonous. Another option is if you're doing $20, it's not necessarily online. I'm sure there are plenty of local classes that you can find for, they're going to be product based or education based upon a certain product line, but you can find some classes that are free or close to free, or a buy-in, and then they give you product in return to go to these in-salon seminars and classes. And you can pick up a lot of information that way as well. And some people learn better in a live atmosphere than being able to watch it online.
Definitely.
Also, pro tip: talk to your school. A lot of schools they have programs where if you are taking a class at a salon or at a distributor, and maybe it's a product knowledge class with cutting education or balayage education along with it, they will allow you to receive hours.
So how would they find out about these classes if it's not through school, through the local, beauty supply houses? There's always flyers up for stuff that's going on through there. And so those are good options to find places as well.
Those are definitely like our personal top three fave paid under $20 online courses. But let's talk about some free stuff, some free 99 type classes.
That's my new middle name. Free 99. All right, so I'll jump in. Free courses. I mean, there's so much good content on YouTube And I mean, Professor YouTube shows you so much from so many great people. You know, like we were chatting about, Matt Beck over at Free Salon Education does some really great work, and he has live as well as recorded stuff on there. And it covers such a wide variety of stuff like that. And also, I would like to toot my own horn. I have some stuff over there on YouTube on Jatai Feather. So if you check out Jatai Feather, they make the hair cutting razors and scissors. And so I do some stuff for them a couple of times a month. And we've been doing that for about a year and a half. So that's all free. We also on their academy have a free fundamental razor course and a free fundamental scissor course, which shows you like basics and fundamentals on how to get your start there. And then you can branch out from that.
And Matt Beck started Free Salon Education years and years ago. And obviously the world is a little different. There are paid classes available now on freesaloneducation.com. But YouTube is such a great way. But I say this with a air of warning and caution when going on YouTube University.
There's a lot of trash.
There is so much trash out there on YouTube. I think that you really got to do some research, find out, are these people professionals? What kind of professionals are they? Because there are some professionals out there that are doing some stuff that is like, ooh, that is
questionable.
What I would love to learn.
I would vet people. I would, people that I'm following on Instagram or Facebook, or, that I'm making connections with on Hairbrand or kind of whatever. And then I would look for their YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
As opposed to just this like broad, 15-minute balayage search on YouTube where you've got,
Exactly. Because the other nice thing about YouTube is that with the way the world is with social media and everything else, YouTube, a lot of professionals are posting their education on there. Right. So it is legitimate, good, solid, foundational education that is available on YouTube with paid options, because YouTube now has subscriptions. So you can absolutely find good free education. But let's say you have like a YouTube subscription for YouTube Red or something like that. Like you might be able to access with your already paid streaming services some of the content that is considered paid for on there. So there's workarounds as well to some of these subscription services available.
Well, and a lot of the manufacturers, also have really robust YouTube pages where they have, people coming in. So whatever line your particular school, whatever they're carrying, that's a great place. If you guys are using Welland, Moroccan oil, and Shades EQ, from Redken, well, hop on, the Redken YouTube or the Sam Via. You want to talk about quality free education? Jump on Sam Via's YouTube and get you some there.
That is a great option. Sam Via, highly recommended by these two hair nerds. Absolutely. Another great one is just getting on Instagram. Instagram also now has paid subscriptions available, which are typically all the ones I've seen popping up are absolutely under $20. Most of them I've seen around $2.99 to $5.99. And that way, when you do vet your person and you find the person that you are just, vibing with really well and you love their education, get their subscription. Their content's probably going to be really good, especially if you are already loving what they're giving you for free.
Let's explore that a little bit more. And how do you actually vet someone so that you're learning something of quality and not just some kind of hack methodology that seems cool? Because if I don't know, it's easy for me to vet because I can see it because I've got experience. But for someone who doesn't have experience, flash in the pan, oh my God, that looks amazing. And it's not really, it's really a hack job. So how do you make that discernment? How do you vet them, so to speak?
I think one of the things to really, really aware of is number of followers does not mean shit, right? Just because you have 1 million followers doesn't mean that you're a great hairdresser. You might just be a great entertainer. That's okay. I would always reach out to people that I currently are like maybe mentoring me, or my educators, people that I trust, and ask who they really enjoy learning from. And I think that you'll see, like especially on Instagram, people who are doing lives and who are showing these cuts, as opposed to someone who's just doing like a quick like 30-second reel to a trending audio, and it's like, oh, and I do this and here it is.
Yeah.
You know, because what you're going to want is that like people who are very educationally minded, as opposed to just the entertainment. You know, but I also think, you know, we're talking about education. It's maybe not even just cutting and coloring and lashes or whatever. I mean, social, business, like all of those things. There are a ton of people on Instagram. I think that Annie and I would be happy to compile a list of people who are trusted. One of the other places that I really like to go for education, me and your grandmother, Facebook, you know, because of the way they format the lives, people are still doing, and companies are still doing Facebook lives. If you follow Hairbrain, I mean, they're doing 3 to 5 lives a week. And yes, some of them are from product companies, but a lot of them are just from really great hairdressers who are members of Hairbrain.
And those are free? Those are free broadcasts?
Yeah, they're free on Facebook. You know, and I think for me, if Hairbrain's okay with you being on their platform and educating, then, you know, it's probably you're probably pretty decent. And you know, something kind of for everyone, but they're usually about an hour long, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, and you know, they live on Facebook, so you can just go to videos and see all the old lives. And so kind of, you know, if you're looking for updo classes or whatever, and it really is, you know, somebody in that room, somebody else is recording them, and they're just walking around the hair. Like, it's super lo-fi for the most part. They do answer questions in the lives. So if you jumped on live as opposed to going on, you know, afterwards. But I also think just like following people like you, Russell, you know, like on Instagram or on Facebook, watching old videos, and then interacting and requesting what you are looking to learn. Hey, I'm really struggling with the wolf cut. I don't know what the hell to do, you know?
Right.
And then you're like, well, it's a shag. Let me break it down for you, you know? Here's my video on the shag. The reason you can't find it is because you're looking up the wolf cut, or the whatever. So yeah, I mean, I think finding people who've been in it for a minute and are willing to share.
The other thing too is that I think there's a trickle effect that happens when you're starting to vet people and search for education specifically on social media. One of, in my opinion, the most amazing cutting educator out there who will just break it down like no one else is DJ Muldoon. You know, and then so if you're following DJ Muldoon on social media or taking his in-person classes or anything else, DJ's going to shout out who his friends are, you know, or I'm doing a class with so-and-so, like Ira, his best friend, Ira Pope Sage, who is another incredible educator. What's going to happen is that you follow DJ says to go follow Ira, then you start following Ira's going to shout out one of his, you know, friends, mentors, somebody that you should be following and liking, and there's going to be a trickle effect that happens. And you may end up starting with someone who has these huge numbers and everything else, but you know, for a reason, they have these big numbers, and you're going to end up finding these niche educators that are really going to
speak to you.
They're really going to speak to you. They're going to be on your level. They're going to be someone that you're never have thought that you would have found. You know, and it's like, it's going to end up happening like that eventually, to where you're going to really find some solid education. It's just a trickle effect.
I would like to offer an alternative, which is for the cheap ones. So the really, really cheap stuff is eBay. If you go on eBay, you can find numerous DVDs If you want to get an old DVD player, you can get a
Gotta buy a
DVD on
DVD
there.
player.
Yes, buy a DVD player for $12, and then you can buy some DVDs for 99 cents. And there you got something that cost somebody 80 to $100 when they bought it at the hair show, selling it for $1. And you can buy DVDs like that all day on eBay. I think that's a great source of education if you're on the cheap, because you can watch it over and over and over again. You got the hard copy. If you don't want to do that, import it into the computer. There you go. You got it on the computer now.
And most of that's going to be really solid foundational education. There's probably going to be some like silly stuff on there, especially if they're like older. But otherwise, it's like, education's still sound.
Well, I know you can find there's all kinds of old Sassoon DVDs on there from their collections from years past, that while the style may not necessarily be the most current, the technique is solid. So you're learning technique anyway, so it's a great place to start.
I think that building relationships is also another really great way to get education, and to create opportunities for experiences in school. Like I always tell people, like you create your own opportunities. Like we wanted to go to Fashion Week, and we weren't entirely sure how to do it, and we just started tweeting with Ted Gibson. And he was talking about going to Fashion Week, and we slid into his DMs and we were like, you should totally have us come to Fashion Week. And this fool said, okay. So we went, like we got on a plane and we did the whole damn thing. And it's because, we were stalking him very legally. We were very legally stalking him. And it worked out. And I think you have to be willing to put yourself out there. Right? Like you have to be willing to create those opportunities. Social is a really, really easy way, so that when they are teaching a class in your town, you're like, I'm a student. I'm just a little baby student and I don't have a lot of money, but I'd sure love to come wash hair for you. Or, I'll sweep up the floor if I could just like watch the class. Or hell, take the class and offer to take them to dinner. Like there are ways to enmesh yourself in these people's lives, and that is 100% how you create opportunities that will create a life you never dreamed of.
Building relationships is a lot easier than people think that it is. It's just a matter of just reaching out to somebody. It's very simple. It requires a little moxie, but that's okay. It won't hurt you. You slide in your DMs, and if they don't respond, then maybe they didn't see it. Don't think that it's a rejection, because all that stuff goes into the, we don't know if you know this person.
Totally. It'll go into requested, and I think you can't let it hurt your feelings. It can be scary to meet your mentors because sometimes they suck. And you just got to know that, like not everybody that looks awesome online is awesome in person. These are the chances that we take. You could be a model for a hair show and get in for free. A word to the wise. That's tricky. It can be tricky, and it can be traumatizing. I think Annie could attest to that on more than one occasion, because she learned her lesson very, very slowly. When it came to being a model for guest artists and classes,
which we have talked about on previous podcasts.
Oh, did you? That's how she had a pixie. Yeah. I mean, but again, creating opportunities, a class that maybe she couldn't afford. She did what it took, and sometimes it took all of her hair. And that's okay. Because she absolutely went to that class and had those experiences and has a hell of a story to tell now. So
definitely. So a question that I have for the both of you, let's look at this really quickly on the reverse side. Let's say, and let's talk from like a social media only standpoint, right? So someone's looking for education online. They find a page of someone that they think is really cool and that they want to take their education. There is no education available on social media, only paid. Would that be considered a red flag or no?
I don't love it. I don't love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that to me is someone who is holding their secrets so tightly, right? That they can't step outside of themselves and ego to not make a buck on everything, like you gotta give people a little taster sometimes, like, and let them know what you're about. How do I know that you're a good educator if I can't see shit from you?
Well, there is a certain amount of pride and care and generosity that comes from a really good educator, and a good educator will share as much as you can take. However much you can take, they'll keep pouring in until you're overflowing. And so I think giving away education for free is a great way to introduce yourself to someone who may not know you. And then if they want to deep dive, then they can go into something that's more of a mastermind kind of thing, where we can really deep dive into one particular subject that maybe 10 minutes of a YouTube video I can't contain in. It takes a long form. So short form, yeah, I think it's great. Give it away for free. Long form, then charge for that. But to charge for everything, nah, I lost interest. I'm not even willing to see what's there to pay for it. I mean, there's so many options that why am I going to go for this one when I can't see anything?
Yeah, I mean, we are inundated with lots of education. Pandemic taught us that, right? It's all education all the time. So yeah, I mean, if you can't see beyond yourself, then I don't think I want to learn from you.
And let's face it, there's so much quality content online that you can pretty much learn anything you want from a very high caliber, educational format or educator. But at the same time, I have to sift through the quagmire of the swamp to find and glean those diamonds in there. And that's the price you pay when you go get free education, is I swim through all this swampland to find, where we go.
Right.
Sometimes if you find something good, then you want to pay for their education because they've already, sifted through all the nonsense and just give you clear, concise information.
I think it's a huge bonus for anyone that is currently listening or watching this right now, is the three of us have lovingly and painstakingly compiled a list of some amazing people to follow on social media, some of our personal favorite educators. So these are people that we have vetted, we know personally, we have taken the time to jot their name down for y'all to find and love as well. So after you're done listening to this podcast, definitely click the link in the description and in the bio to find that downloadable list of the names that we have put together, just as a little thank you and a easier way to sift through
a good starting point. A really good starting point. Yeah.
Okay. So one place that I would say maybe don't always 100% trust as a place to find educators and education, and it feels a little counterintuitive, is going to be trade media. And I say that because trade media, for the most part, most of like our hair magazines and those big accounts are featuring people who work for companies that are advertisers. And so there's kind of this like feeding the beast, if these 10 companies are giving you X amount of dollars a month to promote their educators, for me, those are ads. And while there might be incredible education there, I prefer to find those people organically. That does not mean that there aren't incredible people on there, but I would always just like take a minute and ask myself, like, am I watching an ad for a product company, or am I getting really good education?
Now, a little bit of an ad is okay. But when the whole thing is an ad, then that's just too much.
Yeah.
And
I just need something more than, let me give you 1,800 ingredients in this hairspray and why this is the only hairspray that will ever work for anybody ever.
some product companies have great educators. Like there are some product companies that, yes, they're pushing those ads pretty hard, but they have some great educators behind them. So it's an ad, but it's also pristine education.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. I think know why people are posting people, right? Yeah. I think that's I guess what I'm saying is just know that there's a business behind this. Kind of no matter what you're doing, like people are in business. Is this person the greatest, extension specialist in the world? Maybe. Or did a company pay to put them on this platform? So just know why people are being chosen.
What would you say would be some easy ways to tell the difference between an ad and awesome education? I have a good answer for this. So an ad is going to obviously be pushing the product really hard. It's going to be talking about ingredients. It's going to be talking about why you need to use this product, hairspray, whatever it is, some awesome education that comes from product companies would be that more foundational education, when it's actually showing you how to do something, but also giving you the why to do something, I think is a great way to stand out. Because if it's just like showing off this hairspray or lightener, color, like a pomade, like anything that it is, if it's showing you the why behind it or the how to execute something utilizing that product, but it's actually showing you how to do it and why to do it, I think that's a great thing. Because a lot of times it's just going to be about the product. And it's really not going to be about the education in any kind of way, but they're trying to make you think it is. But if you actually take something away from it and you've actually learned something that you can then go apply directly to whatever it is that you use, and that goes with social education, business education, anything. Those, I think, for me, are going to be the ways to differentiate between the two.
For me, it was always like whenever the educator would say, you can only do X with this particular product. You can't lift hair lighter than this product will lift it. This product will keep the hair on the head. Everything else fries it. This one does everything. Yes. Yeah. That's the stuff. It's like, oh Lord, here we go. Stuff may be great, but I mean, come on. Let's reel it back in a little bit. All right, we have come to the end of another amazing, fabulous podcast here with my lovely co-host,
Annie MacArthur,
and our very special guest co-host.
Oh, I say Aaron Gray.
You're a natural. You're a natural. So please leave us a review on Apple iTunes and Spotify. And subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye.
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 Good day.